back out in the garage and see if I can get that motor mount bolt out, get that motor lifted up on that side, and get that control arm off. Once I get that off, it will be all downhill from there. I can get that upper control arm on, get it tightened up, and get my stuff painted up on the spindle, repainted up on the spindle, and get it all back installed, and go from there. And then I'll see what's next on the project. And if anybody's wondering on that, me adding them washers to that lower part of the shock, does it affect the shock? Yes, it does. But however, this kit is meant to be, you can lower this kit, you can lower your front end if you want, up to 2 inches about, you will not run into any issues. I am only going about 1 inch, if that, 1.25 inches. I ain't not lowering the front end that much on this car. I'm not going for a drop look, so just FYI on that part. So that's the reason I ain't got to worry about adding a little shim to them shocks to get that where I can, God, I can't think. Working on adjustability, you know, I can adjust the shocks up easy enough. All right, that's all I got for you now. Still can't talk to these damn phones, I tell you. I don't know how some of these guys do it, but they do. All right, I got that all blown apart. Paint drying. I don't have to worry about this paint drying, at least it's brand new. So yeah, got that ripped apart and let that dry, and I'll go work on that, getting that bolt out of the engine mount. Well, we're getting shit done. And I forgot to put the bump stop on that side. So I gotta go back in there and do that. Hopefully I can do it without getting too carried away on the shock. And this side here, I just gotta put the cotter pin in the castle nut on the disc and put a tire on, and that's done. I ended up cutting these back a little bit. I took off probably about 3/8 of an inch off both of them, so I can. Well, let the fun continue. Let me show what I got here. So since I got that side all done and buttoned up, I thought I'd put the sway bar in. Well, I got the sway bar pushed over to the right as far as I can, but if you look right there, it's sitting on the corners of the sway bar bends. So I can't go any further towards the driver's side. But if you look at where the holes are, that side's got to at least be 1 inch or 1.5 inches to 2 inches off. And it also looks as the angle on the bar, oops, sorry, I was looking at that. The angle on the bar is tipped like this, where it needs to be tipped like that. The other side looks fine, except for the fact that I'm stuck into that. See how it's jammed up in there? And that side, let me get the light for you. Where the hell is the light? If I go into this side and look, I can't do it one hand now. But that side looks like it'd be fine, but it's also wide. If you look. If you look, yeah, see where the holes are. Again, that side's off. And you can't see a shit. God damn it. There you go. Now you can see that hole's also off. At least 1.5 inches. So that gives me a total of 3 inches off on overall length. Here's a picture of an A-body off the BMR website. And if you look closely to the spindles, you can see how far away the sway bar is away from the spindles. Here's a close-up view of how close the sway bar is to my spindle. And here's the driver's side. So yeah, after seeing this, I definitely think I got the wrong sway bar from BMR. I think I got one from possibly like a big old Impala, and that's why it's not fitting. All right, back out in the garage, and I got off the phone with BMR, and they have, this is the second one that they've seen with one side being bent wrong. So obviously they're taking care of it. They're sending me a new one out ASAP and a return label. As much as it sucks, at least they take care of it, and I guess it's all I can wish for is that they take care of it with no problems, and they are. So sucks to be me, I guess, but hey, All right, well, I will just thought I'd share that with you, and I'll get back on cleaning up this mess. Oh boy, I got shit all over the place. So I will get that done, and yeah, I have all the tie rod ends to get cleaned up, painted, put back together, so they look nice and new again. Well, the shaking of the head continues. Let me flip this around. So here's my brand new center link. I pulled it out. Actually, the paint on it wasn't too bad, so I probably painted it. But however, the pitman arm over there was not as pretty, and the paint was starting to rust. And I noticed this. I don't know if you can see it on the... if I can hold still enough. Looks blurry. Let's try that now. Yeah, brand new. It's junk. So I can look up the receipt and see who I bought it from and see if they'll do something about it. My guess they're not, because I bought it such a long time ago. But we'll see what happens. But I got most of my parts done except for this one now. This will hold me up again. And I got my steering box centered. Put a little piece of wire on there for a pointer. Kept adjusting it till I got exactly in the middle. So got that good to go, so I can take that off and start putting the shit back together once I get a center link. Cool beans. I see I gotta touch up my caliper there. A little rusty there. Well, today ain't starting out too good. So since I'm waiting for parts, I got other shit to do, right? So flip this around. I needed to slide the column up to close up the gap between the steering wheel and the column. So I just took a piece of wood and I just tapped on this thinking it'd slide right up. Well, it kind of did, but it didn't. What it did, it ends up pushing my bearing and my bearing cup up into the column. So, since I screwed that up, now I have to take all this apart. And now I have to take this down inside there and push that bearing cup back where it needs to be. So don't take a piece of wood and tap on the column, because that don't work. Well, I got it apart. Ended up pulling the whole wire harness out. And like I showed you, I took that brake line tube, stuck it down in there, pushed it back out. That wasn't so bad. The bad part is most of the retainer is gone. I broke it all off. So there's nothing to stop it from going back in, not much anyway. So with that screw up, I'm probably going to have to pull the power steering pump back off, or the power steering pump back off, or not the power steering pump, power steering gearbox back off, and the front bumper brackets, pull the shaft back out, and put a new bearing cup in. So that was a bad mistake. How I didn't get it to push up though is I used a piece of wood, and I went off the Z-rod for the clutch bar, and I pushed on the side of it, and it pushed up real easy. Real easy. That was a costly F up in my part. Time for sure. Part probably only 10-15 bucks, but time's gonna kill me on this one. Well, after wasting hours and hours of time, they don't make that part, which is nice. But I did find a used one. I went on Facebook. There was a guy actually in my town that sells A-body parts. I asked him if he had one. He didn't, but he had a friend that dealt with steering columns. So yeah, he got me one, and he's working on picking that up for me now, and I'll pick it up from him. So now I'm gonna rip that all out, get that steering gearbox out, get the old one out, get the new one in, get it put back together, and try this again. Well, I got it all off again. I'll show you what I screwed up. So I broke see the white stuff around the edges. I broke the flange off right there. There's a little bit left right there. The rest of it is knocked off because of my stupid ass. Oh, I'm so pissed at myself, it's pathetic, but what do you do? Woohoo! Next day. Let's see what I can mess up today. Well, after going through stuff here, I found this was shot. I'll flip this around here. I tried adhesing it, or I should say epoxying it, and I don't think it's going to work very well, and that goes in here. Oh, let's see here. That goes in there like that. Obviously, it's not supposed to stick up like that because I got the epoxy on there. But I went down to Hardware Hank, and believe it or not, I made one out of this. This is what it looked like to begin with. So then I drilled mine out. I just broke the edge on that one. And on this side I countersunk it. God dang. So you can see how I countersunk it down in there. So now that'll hold it. It won't touch the wall. It goes in there like so. Oop. I go in there just like that. Somehow. It did before. So anyways, this goes in here like that. And that's it. Obviously the pin's got to be in there. But yeah, so hopefully that fixes her. So something went right for once for fixing. But yeah, that was a brand new part. It's never even been down the road yet. And it's falling apart. Ain't that something? Just that little bitty spring inside there was wrecking that. Alright, I made the second one a little bit shorter. In case it needs to get down in there. As I'm not sure exactly how far these two pieces here will be apart once I get the spring in. So, there you go. 1, 2, whoop, and whoop, and 3. I'm going to roll a bit of quick on my head. Alrighty, that's it for that little piece. Fixed and ready to go back in the car. Well, we're not having much luck here. Still trying to get this part from that guy. And that ended up being a fiasco. I'd send him messages, he wouldn't return. Said he'd have it Friday. Didn't have it Friday. Finally got back to me Saturday mid-morning, and he said he'd have it either Saturday or Sunday at the latest. I kept, messaging him, where is it, nicely, where is it, and never reply. So finally I got sick when I says, well, if you can't reply to me on Sunday by 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever I said, I says, consider it canceled because, I can't communicate with the guy. I don't know what the hell's going on. So be it. So I ordered one from the parts, what's it called, the parts place. They have one online. I'll put a little picture up right there. And yeah, so it was 60, I can't remember what it was, $62 plus $4 or $5 shipping. And so it is what it is, I guess. And I was thinking about having one made. But of course, to get somebody to do it, everybody's so damn busy. So now I want to get this thing put back together. So hopefully that one will be fine, and I won't have no issues, or else I have to make one. Have it machine shop make one. So flip this around here. My shocks came in. So I'll get the shocks put together, and I can get them underneath the car. And at least I can button up the ass end finally, except for final adjustments. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Lots of antices on here. Make sure it's on good. You gall it up and they're junk. And I'll do some time lapse here because I'm sure you want to watch me do this shit all day. So yeah, I'll put it in time lapse here and. Well, ain't that nice. Go grab my thrust bearings and all I get is a shim. One plate. It's supposed to be the plate, bearing, and plate. So, now I gotta call them and see what the hell's going on with that. I don't know, I'm just so disgusted, it's unbelievable. Well, I called them guys. He thought I kept mine, and I obviously didn't. I was told to return everything. So I did return everything, and yeah, so he's gonna send me how it's set out, but another week, pissed away. Just shake my head, it's just unbelievable the bullshit I'm going through. Alright, that's gonna finish up the shocks till I get the thrust bearings so I can put them on. And I don't know, maybe I'll start working on the back speaker and get that ready to go since I got so much time. I still have to make a somewhat of a paint booth to paint my center console. I'm not sure how I'm going to figure that out yet, but so I ain't got all the aerosol going all over the garage, but we'll figure that out. What?